Good evening and welcome to the weekend edition of Just the News. I'm Faye D'Souza. It's a Saturday, so we're going to keep this brief and quickly bring you an update of everything you need to know about what's happening in the country. On Saturday, which is today, the central government has sent one last notice to Twitter India to appoint Indian officers in its office as grievance redressal officers as per the country's new social media rules for social media companies. If Twitter fails to do so, the notice says it will face consequences as per the IT Act and other penal laws. The letter has been sent by Rakesh Maheshwari, the Group Coordinator Cyber Law, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. It reads, and I quote, Twitter Incorporated is hereby given one last notice to immediately comply with the rules, failing which the exemption from liability available under Section 79 of the IT Act shall be withdrawn. Twitter shall be liable for consequences as per the IT Act and other penal laws of India. Now, Twitter has been locking horns with the government of India for some time now. It started last month when Twitter classified posts by BJP leaders, including Sambit Patra, as manipulated media, after which the Delhi police paid a surprise visit to the Twitter offices, to two different Twitter offices in the national capital, apparently to deliver a notice. The government has also said to various newspapers that Google, WhatsApp and Facebook have complied with the direction to set up a grievance redressal office where people can send their grievances about content. But let's remember that WhatsApp has also taken the government to Delhi High Court over one of the requirements in those rules that says that WhatsApp will have to allow the government to trace the origin of a message, which means, according to WhatsApp, it will have to break its end-to-end encryption. As of now, of course, Twitter has been put on the hotspot by the central government. The Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, in his World Environment Day address, has said that India is emerging as a leader of climate justice. The world used to look at India as a challenge, now it looks at India as a leader of climate justice, he said. He also said India is setting an example in front of the world that when it comes to protecting the environment, it's not necessary to block development work to do so. The Prime Minister also released the report of the expert committee on the roadmap for ethanol blending in India for 2020-2025 during this event. He said on the occasion of World Environment Day, India has taken another big step in releasing an elaborate roadmap in development of the ethanol sector. Meanwhile, India has reported 1,20,000 new COVID cases and 3,380 deaths in the last 24 hours alone. According to the government, active cases across the country have dropped now to 15 lakh. I must remind you that the number of deaths at well over 3,000 in just one day is still a very sharp number. It's more than the number of people who died in the 9/11 attacks that took place in New York. More people are dying on a daily basis in India. So even though various state governments are talking about sort of opening up, we should be very, very careful. India has at this point only vaccinated 3.3% of the population, which means a large portion of our population is still very vulnerable. In the second week of May, we were reporting 4,000 deaths per day, and we're now reporting over 3,000 deaths a day. Experts have advised that given the number of cases, even if they're going down, we shouldn't be lowering our guard. India at the G7 meet on health has firmly opposed the adoption of COVID vaccination passports, saying the initiative would be hugely discriminatory and disadvantageous to developing countries. Dr. Harshvardhan, the Union Minister of Health for India, has said, and I quote, at this stage, it is pertinent to discuss India's concern over vaccine passports, considering the far lower levels of vaccination in developing countries in contrast to developed countries, and still unaddressed issues related to equitable, affordable access, supply and distribution of vaccines. India proposes that the implementation of passports based on vaccines is hugely discriminatory. Despite being the world's largest producer of vaccines, as of the 5th of June, 22.4 crore doses have been administered in India so far to 4 crore people. That accounts, like I said, a little over 3% of the population. well behind, say, countries like the US that have managed now to vaccinate about 40% of their population. Nobel laureate Amartya Sen has said India's confused government focused on taking credit for its actions rather than working to restrict the spread of COVID, resulting in schizophrenic behavior that has led to massive troubles. Speaking at an event organized by the Rashtriya Seva Dal, according to a report in the PTI, Mr. Sen has been quoted saying, "The government seemed much keener on ensuring credit for what it was doing rather than ensuring that the pandemic did not spread in India. The result was a certain amount of schizophrenia. But to seek credit and not to do the work that generates the credit shows a level of intellectual naivety which has to be avoided. India tried to do that. The government was trying to generate credit, boasting across the world that India would save the world, and at the same time allowing the problem to develop and have a grip over the lives of Indians across the country." End quote. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul has said a decision on vaccinating children is being continuously examined in India. This comes after there were questions raised on whether the government plans to procure Pfizer's vaccine that has been approved for the 12 to 18 age group across the world. Dr. V.K. Paul has said on the issue of which should be used for vaccinating children, please remember that the child cohort is not a small cohort. My rough analysis says that people between the ages of 18 and 12 itself are about 13 to 14 crore. This means that we need 25 to 26 crore doses. We cannot have some children getting the vaccine and others not getting it. He also said that we have to take this into account and strategize. The first is which vaccine to give. Currently, vaccine A or Pfizer is suitable, but once you've taken the decision, we have to keep in mind who we are trying to cover. I assure you, this is being continuously examined. End quote. After the Haryana government decided to add Patanjali's Coronil to its free COVID kit provided by the government to all COVID patients, the Uttarakhand state government has now decided to do the same thing. The Indian Medical Association has raised strong objections, saying that Coronil, which is being called an immunity booster by Patanjali, has not been approved by the WHO. The IMA has also said that the addition of Coronil with allopathic drugs in this kit amounts to mixopathy, which is a cocktail of Ayurveda and allopathy, which is not permitted as per Supreme Court rulings, and the using of it would be in contempt. End quote. Of course, we must remember that when state governments purchase large amounts of this therapy from a private entity, they are using taxpayer public money that is dedicated to treatment of people who have COVID. Several states have now changed their lockdown regulations. Tamil Nadu has extended its lockdown till the 14th of June with some relaxations. There will be a region-wise relaxation according to the number of active cases. Vegetables, groceries, meat stores will be allowed to stay open till 5 in the evening. Shopping complexes, malls, tourist places, cinema salons will stay shut. The Maharashtra government has announced a rather complicated 5-level plan for its unlocking, which basically means there are now 5 levels of restrictions, 5 different types of restrictions, and based on the number of cases and the occupation of oxygen beds in each district. Every Thursday, the health department of the state government and the district authorities will decide which of these 5 categories a district or a city comes under. Now, level 1, which is basically less than 5% positivity and very low occupation of oxygen beds, would be an almost full opening up. Level 2, where oxygen beds are between 25 and 40% occupancy, will have malls and theatres and restaurants open to 50% capacity. Private offices, government offices will open completely. Level 3, where malls and theatres will remain closed, and level 4, where there will be, of course, more stricter guidelines, and then there is level 5 as well. Now, we don't know which city falls under which level just yet. We understand that in the case of Mumbai, for example, and the suburbs, the BMC will make that decision. For Thane, Pune, Nasik, Nagpur, Solapur, there will be the municipal corporations, because there's more than one. The disaster management teams will decide which category each of these areas fall into. So we are waiting for that information from the state government. Delhi has announced its unlock plans as well. Markets and shopping malls in the city will be allowed to open on odd and even days, a favorite solution of the Delhi government. Shops will be allowed to open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The Delhi Metro will run at 50% capacity. Gyms, swimming pools, water parks, salons, educational institutions will stay shut. A quick look at news coming in from business and economy at this point. Fuel prices have gone up again. They are, needless to say, at an all-time high. Petrol in Mumbai is now 100 rupees and 98 paise. Diesel costs 92 rupees and 99 paise. In Delhi, petrol will set you back 94 rupees and 76 paise per litre, and diesel at 85 rupees and 66 paise. Again, I keep reminding you that while the prices are going up because the price of crude is going up and because the increases were held back during the election period for those 4 states, what's really happening is that there is 200% tax that we pay on fuel. The actual price of fuel is closer to 37 or 38 rupees after all of the costs. Everything else is state and central taxes. And last year, during March to May, when because of global lockdowns, the price of crude crashed almost, the government of India added about 13 rupees extra tax per litre of petrol and absorbed that difference instead of passing it on to citizens. Now the base has gone up, but the tax remains the same. Quick look now at news coming in from across the world. According to Reuters, China has approved emergency use of its Sinovac vaccine for children between the age groups of 3 to 17. Now, we understand that this is the first vaccine in the world that has been cleared for children this young. Preliminary results from phase 1 and 2 clinical trials showed that the vaccine could trigger immune response in 3 to 17-year-old participants, and most adverse reactions were mild. Quick update from the world of sports. Olympics-bound wrestler Sumit Malik tested positive for a prohibited substance during the last month's Olympic qualifying round in Bulgaria. According to the Indian Express, the Wrestling Federation of India's secretary has said that they've received communication on Thursday that Sumit's sample collected during the Olympic qualifying tournament has returned positive. He has said the United World Wrestling has provisionally suspended him, and India has lost its quota in that category, which is very unfortunate. One piece of positive news before we leave you for the day, and this is World Environment Day. Remember, today, Bengaluru's Kempegowda International Airport has achieved net energy neutral status for the financial year 2020-2021. As part of its sustainability goals, in a statement, the airport said it's been able to save nearly 22 lakh units of energy in this financial year, enough power for 9,000 houses for a month. Well, I know the citizens of Bangalore could use that. The Bengaluru International Airport has also said that it has increased its consumption from solar power to 50 million units through on-site and off-site power purchase agreements. That brings us to the end of the news today. Enjoy your weekend. It's okay to take a break from the news given how distressing it is. Remember though to stay at home and stay safe, not let your guard down, wear your mask at all points. I wish you a really happy weekend. Leave us a comment and a word of encouragement, that always helps us. Thanks for watching.